If you know.
Now Wheezy's in the dark.
Am I?
Pretty
It is
dark.
darker than it normally is, yeah.
There's a lot of noise from the lighting. Like you're distorted orange. Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But interesting because I'm on my side. I'm like fucking crisp and clean.
Oh.
Good to know.
You look like you visited somebody's tanning salon.
Yeah. The reflection of your beard changed your hue.
It'd be like that sometimes. It definitely be like that sometimes. Trying to find this shit. Okay.
What shit?
All of the video shit. Come on, man. This is not your first time on the show. This is not. You can send out the links and all that fun stuff.
Gotcha.
Huh. Interesting. I don't know why he's doing that, but okay. Fuck him.
Yeah, weird.
Because the same thing I had set up for drinks and toys, and there was no issue then. Oh well. I said maybe I had the light too bright, but is it any better?
I mean, it's not quite as orange now, yes. Before it was super orange, like Joe said. Now that you moved your hand from where it was,
it got darker.
A little bit darker.
You moved your hand. Yeah, that was weird.
Welcome. Cool. So let's do this. I want to welcome everybody to Collector's Hideout, the podcast where we get together weekly to talk shit about different topics, different things in the pop culture world, movies, games, comics, collectibles, toys, really whatever kind of we want to talk about for the week. Really, it's just a way for us to get away from the real world and all the bullshit going on and help us unwind and not have to deal with all that nonsense. So this evening, I'm here with Mr. Psycho. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. How about you?
Can't complain. Can't complain. Want to fire people, but, hands are tied. And also, Zero Cool, you are joining us tonight. How you doing, man?
Doing good, buddy. Doing good.
Awesome. So, tonight wasn't supposed to be our scheduled watches evening. I wanted to try and do a horror movie for this month. But Spider-Man Brand New Day came out. And I've been wanting to talk about it, but I've been trying to be real polite with everybody who might not have seen it yet, don't want to give spoilers, all that shit. So I've been kind of quiet. And the movie was really fucking good. And I'm like, you know what? It's like a week and a half, 2 weeks out. If people haven't seen it yet, that's their own dumb fault for being, busy and having a life. So.
Right, Tony.
Yeah, right, fucking Tony.
This message is for you, Tony, as you're watching.
That's why Shellhead's not here with us tonight, because he didn't watch the shit. Because he's got to wait to go with the missus. Because he's not a man to do it on his own.
And he's not watching it now either.
So, let's get into it. Spider-Man, Brand New Day. First, just going into this movie, did you have high expectations?
Who are you asking, me or Joe first?
Whoever the fuck wants to answer.
I think I did. I think I did have high expectations. I kind of wanted Peter's story to, move forward from what happened with the last movie. I kept waiting for things to happen, and kind of disappointed that it didn't go the way we thought. But yeah, I think the expectations were high, and I think it fulfilled a lot of what we were wanting. It was a great movie.
Okay, what about you, Psycho?
Actually, for this film, I went in with no expectations, right? Because this is the first time we've gotten a fourth Spider-Man movie, and I kind of felt like No Way Home was so good. The fact that they were able to take that story that had been building for movies, examine what happened in Avengers Endgame and then incorporate the previous Spider-Man and the previous villains from the movies in, and it all worked so well. I was concerned that if I came into this movie with any kind of expectation, I would be overshooting, right? I'd be overshooting what they were able to deliver. So I made the conscious decision not to expect anything. Just go in and see the movie just like when I saw the very first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire back in 2001.
So, I mean, that's what I try and do with every movie for several years now. Like, that's why I have my own rule where when it's a franchise I actually give a shit about, I watched the first trailer drop one time, and then that's it. I don't watch it again. I see the initial trailer, and then I just go into it essentially blind. I don't read anything. I don't watch the rumors. I don't nothing. I just go into it, and I haven't been disappointed doing that. I feel like I enjoy movies more doing it that way. For like you said, because you're kind of going with zero expectations. You just going in because you know you're going to watch a Spider-Man movie in this case. And if you get Spider-Man in the movie, you kind of winning, right?
I don't know that I approach movies like that. Normally, I watch all the trailers, and I'll watch them several times. The trailers don't ruin a movie for me. What I was concerned about ruining for me, what I was concerned about ruining it was going in wanting them to do things because as a Spider-Man fan, I want it, and then them not doing it and me getting upset, right? Like the biggest thing that I wanted out of a fourth Spider-Man movie, we did not get, and whether or not we ever get it, I won't know until it happens. But
what, Venom?
Exactly, right? Like during No Way Home, at the end of No Way Home, you see Tom Hardy's Venom, right, at a bar, and he's talking. He's like, so there's this, and there's a guy who flies around in a metal suit, and there's this, and then there's a guy with the powers of a spider, and he's like, I think I need to visit that guy with the powers of a spider, and then he gets blipped back to his own universe, right? But he leaves behind a piece of the Venom suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and but then
they did. In Venom 3, the movie starts, and all of a sudden he was never in Tom Holland's universe where he left that piece. He was in his own universe, even though the guy looks differently, right? In the No Way Home universe, the bartender's hair is tied up into a bun. He's shaven. He looks clean. And in the Venom Last Dance movie, the guy's hair is no longer in the bun. It's hanging down. It looks like he hasn't shaven. He looks super tired. But then it shows you the piece of Venom on the counter. And then the guy's like, what's this? And he puts the cup over it. And then they call in the scientists who come and pick it up. And they tried to retcon it so that they weren't forced to do that in the movie. And it just, as a Spider-Man fan, I want the black suit.
So before we get into the movie, I think with that, and I could be completely off base, but I think it kind of goes where they're moving towards, right? Hey, what's going on, Gustavo? I think Marvel wants to tell the story of Venom, and I think they're going to do it via Secret Wars.
It'd be great if they did.
Right, and if that's the way they're going, having Venom in an island somewhere sitting there wouldn't work for the story they're trying to tell for it. And that's probably why when they got like, oh, you know what, we can use it doing more. Yeah, that's not where we're going. We're going with this story instead. So they had to retcon it. And
I got a different take on that. I feel like Sony's blocking the inclusiveness of Venom in an MCU movie. I think Marvel's jab is to give us a little, little things like, the appearance, a little cameo, great, and they probably struggled to get that. And I think they're just not getting to agreements with Sony to let that happen. That's just my thought on that.
I mean, and I can see why you would think that, but according to Sony, Sony doesn't care. Like they've already acknowledged that their extended universe movies are not working, which is why they've been having internal discussion about selling Spider-Man back to Marvel for $10 billion. And they're like, we'll just sell the character back to you, do whatever you want, because everything that they've tried to do doesn't work, because they always do everything half-assed, right?
Yeah,
Like Venom movies are half-assed. Instead of connecting it to Andrew Garfield, they decided to just make it so Spider-Man doesn't exist. The Craven movie, he gets his powers from a drop of lion's blood entering his blood system. The Morbius movie, Chris didn't hate it, but what I saw of it was absolutely terrible, so I didn't bother watching the whole thing.
I don't know. All I went into that movie with, because I didn't know shit about Morbius, all I knew is that it was like a vampire who's part of the MCU, right? Or not the MCU, with Marvel. So I went into that expecting a vampire-esque movie, and I got a vampire-esque movie. You know, so I'm like, I wasn't mad at it. Like,
were you expecting Blade? Because it's the only. Okay.
No, because I mean, in my going into it, I figured in the comics they must go against each other. But I also know in Blade, he also goes against Dracula, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, maybe Morbius isn't a Blade character because he does go against Dracula. So I was like, that'd be kind of weird to have two vampire. All right, maybe not. But so I wasn't mad at it.
I mean, and again, like I would love for the symbiote suit to show up in Secret Wars. I just don't know how they're going to do that, because according to Marvel, the Spider-Man that they're going to be using for Doomsday and Secret Wars is Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. They're not going to be using Tom Holland. That's what they've said, right? When they've listed the characters that are going to be appearing in the movie, they've said Spider-Man was going to be there, but that it would be Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, an older and more experienced Spider-Man. And so that's what they're really going to do. I don't need to see Tobey Maguire get the frickin' Venom costume again. I don't need it.
Yeah.
So I've read some theories on that, and that will come towards the end of our discussion for this movie, because I think it ties at the end where that's going. So this one, Brand New Day. I really enjoyed it. The one thing that I was really worried about this movie was the same thing I was worried about with Guardians 3. Because in Guardians 3, I feared that the entire movie was going to be revolving around making this Gamora love me, the way the Gamora I lost loved me. And I feared that this Spider-Man movie was going to be like force-fed. Oh, I got to make MJ love me again. I got to make her remember me, whatever. Like that's where I thought the story was going to wind up going, and just having it be like the focus. And it wasn't. So it's there. It can't be ignored. But it wasn't the focus. And I appreciate that, because if that was the focus, I feel like it would have ruined the whole thing. Because it would have been the first Spider-Man all over again.
Yeah, it's the first Spider-Man movie where it's not all about Iron Man. So I'll take it, right? Because all three of them were Iron Man, centered.
I wouldn't say No Way Home was Iron Man centered. Homecoming definitely was. Far From Home definitely was, because he's dealing with the grief of losing his mentor. I don't think that No Way Home was Iron Man centric. If anything, I would say it was Aunt May centric, right? Like, No Way Home was really about, what does this responsibility mean, right? And is there a greater responsibility?
Well, he passed the torch to Peter in No Way Home, right? Like, and they made a point to bring that up with Happy, watching him do a lot of what Tony would do, working with the holograms and building stuff with the replicator and stuff like that.
Well, that happened Far From Home. That happened at the end of the second movie when they're in the plane and he's got the thing and Happy's having that conversation with him about him stepping into Tony's role. So
right.
Just real quick, Gustavo, I saw it. The Predator looked cool except for the face. So something's wrong with that face. So that's a no. That's a no buy.
What Predator?
It's a Predator statue. He had sent it to Tony. I'll send it to you later. That came out. So one thing I was running into with Brand New Day is that there's a lot of, I don't know Spider-Man a lot. Like my Spider-Man has been, or my Spider-Man knowledge has been from the movies. Like I've never read the Spider-Man comics. I never cared to as a kid. It didn't reach me. So I only know Spider-Man from the comics, and that's it. Obviously from seeing like the trading cards when I had all the trading cards and stuff. So there's a lot in this movie to unpack with the directions they're going. Obviously, we're still in the era of nobody remembers Peter, right? He's been Men in Black, flashy thinged for everybody.
Allegedly.
Mhm.
He's been Men in Black, flashy thing for everybody, right? I mean, who remembers him?
I think you could make an argument that Hulk might
Okay.
remember something about him.
Okay, that's a little bit later. But I'm saying right now, we're starting this movie. Nobody remembers Spider-Man, right? So he's doing whatever the fuck he wants. How he's paying for anything he's doing, I don't know. Because he's got an expensive ass, well, he's got a big ass apartment, which would only assume has to be some type of expense.
Mhm.
All this technology he's got that's doing all this shit. If nobody remembers him, that means the Avengers don't remember him. That means that he's not funded by the Avengers and Stark.
Well, no. Everybody knows Spider-Man. Don't get that confused. Everybody knows Spider-Man. Nobody knows Peter Parker.
But see, and then that starts adding problems to it, right?
I mean,
So-
yeah. I mean, yeah.
No. So people remember Spider-Man. They don't remember Peter Parker. But then that means that all the history, now this is going back to No Way Home or whatever, is that does the Avengers remember working with Spider-Man? Do they
Yeah, I would
forget?
think so.
You
Yeah.
think so? Because
Yeah.
but nobody gives a fuck about him. Nobody's trying to help. Nobody, right? There's no even mention of it.
I mean,
If that's the case, you think he'd go to Banner as Spider-Man, right? He doesn't. He goes as Peter, who nobody knows.
But he was going there to ask him for advice, not related to Spider-Man. He's asking there for how to suppress his hormones and what's
Right,
going
but if
on
you're
with his chain.
Spider-Man and you have this genius, you think you go as Spider-Man and hey, this is what's going on. I need help. You know what I mean?
Like
but
he'd
he
be more
doesn't.
receptive if Spider-Man approached him than some kid approached him.
yeah,
right.
but
It's just really weird that. Go ahead.
But I mean, you have to remember he doesn't have a relationship with Banner. Spider-Man
Well, he
never
knows
had
him.
a relation. No, he knows who Bruce Banner is. Right? Hulk and Banner have seen Spider-Man. They know that Spider-Man has done things, but he doesn't have a relationship with him the way he had with Doctor Strange or anybody else. So if he were to show up and start asking questions, why would Banner talk to him about
But
stuff that was that?
But right there, because you're right there. Banner, maybe they didn't team up together, but he knew that he was on the Avengers. He knows that he would then know that Spider-Man was Tony's protege, right? He would know that information. He might not have had a working relationship, but he knew of them. They were all part of the same team. Like I said, and obviously there's writing and story that they want to do. Why Spider-Man didn't fucking go to Doctor Strange for help, right? Like, it makes you wonder if the Avengers and all that, if all that is also erased from memories, and he's only on the street level again because he's got no help at all. His only help in this film, in reality, is from a pissed off fucking Punisher.
Yeah, but that would go against why Scorpion knows Peter. Not Peter, Scorpion knows Spider-Man. Because they erased him. Scorpion was in No Way Home, or Homecoming, I'm sorry, was in Homecoming. So if they erased everybody knowing Spider-Man, then why would Scorpion be so vindictive towards
But it's
Spider-Man?
not everybody knowing Spider-Man. I guess what the people that know Spider-Man and Peter, like who actually know, not just like when his face became known, but like the people who had working relationships with actual friendships and everything. It's almost like they don't have recollection of either. And maybe that's on point because then you have this one person, which would lead to too many blank areas of why don't I remember that? Or like, oh yeah, we see Spider-Man and we see him, but now we don't remember his face. Like I think I could be wrong, but it could be a plot hole too that they just haven't given us the answer for yet. But then it could be said that the new Avengers, right? Black Widow's sister knows Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right. She's got familiarity there. Hulk, as we said, because you said earlier, is pummeling the shit out of him. And then he's like, hey, it's me. I'm your friend Spider-Man. And then all of a sudden Hulk seems to kind of remember Spider-Man.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. Now, there's theories as to why that is. One of the theories I read was it's because Hulk, if he wasn't active when the snap happened, or not the snap, when the spell happened, Hulk's brain might not have been affected by the spell.
Sure. Which,
okay, I can see that being possible. You know, it's comic book knowledge. It could very well be possible, right? So I mean, you have that aspect of it.
There's also theories that there's also theories that not everybody was erased anyway, right? So most people believe that Wong, as Sorcerer Supreme, was not erased specifically because he told Doctor Strange before he left, do whatever you want, just keep me out of all of it. And so as Sorcerer Supreme telling him that keep me out of it, a lot of people believe that Wong is not gonna have his memory erased either, that he'll still know, he'll still remember
what's going on now. Right, so I would possibly, but we haven't been given that information yet, right? So that's the speculation. It very well could. Will we ever even get those answers? Who knows? I assume we'll get it because Marvel seems to not really just put little things in without reason.
Yeah.
So like that dialogue is probably there for that reason, you know? Well, yeah, I mean, he built clout that eventually New York now loves him versus hating him, right? Because that's where we left off. They hated him. Now they love him. But it's one of those things that is just kind of weird when I guess we start thinking too much about it and trying to figure it out, because it's like when you have this kind of high level stuff going on, potentially a being possessing people, you think that would get the attention of any of the team that Spider-Man would know from the Avengers side outside of just Black Widow's sister. It's just like, it's kind of weird. At least to me.
I didn't watch the Black Widow movie. I feel like I didn't watch it because
you didn't miss anything.
Well, I missed who Black Widow was in this movie, right? I didn't know it was her sister until I had to actually Google, like, who the heck is this person? Because I knew, Natasha dies, right, sacrificing herself for the Soul Stone, great. But I'm like, who's this person? And everybody seemed to know. Like Ned's like, oh, he's talking to Black Widow. I'm like, what? That's her name now? And then I had
because so Black Widow, like Black Panther, is essentially a title, a position, right? So
yeah.
But she's in Thunderbolts. I haven't seen Thunderbolts. It just did not appeal to me. But
same.
She's part of the new Avengers.
It was a good movie. You guys should both give it a watch. It's not great, but it was actually good. It was very enjoyable. The way that they presented the characters were good, and there are some really strong emotional beats in that movie. And the movie doesn't get the credit that it should because of how many duds came out leading up to it. I would say definitely give it a watch. I also just want to point out, and again, not to beat a dead horse, but according to Marvel themselves, Doctor Strange's spell does not make people forget Spider-Man. It only makes people forget Peter Parker ever existed.
That's perfectly fine. Like I said, it's just weird, right? It makes me wonder if because they work so close with him and they're intertwined so much, they have to forget both type of thing. But that's perfectly fine because at the same time, MJ was in love with the kid and she realized. Did she realize that? No, she didn't. She did not.
Yeah.
Hold on. So here we go. All right.
She tells him that she doesn't remember any of that, and it's his fault. And
no, not that. Something that happened, and I was like, "That's right." It was a different twist.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now, I want to try and go in kind of an order of this versus like bounce around through all the whole movie. So, We know where obviously the movie went, and I think a lot of people had it spoiled for them as to who the villain of this movie was. Was it spoiled for you at all, Psycho?
I mean, I had heard rumors, but I don't. Even having heard the rumor that ended up being correct, I don't think that it ruined it for me. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like,
So I had heard some video of an influencer or whatever, or a musician. I don't know the fuck he was. Some guy went on in an interview and they're like, "Oh, who's your favorite character in the movie?" And he's like, "Oh, Jean, something, something. She's a great villain." And then the internet blew up. Oh, that's confirmation. It's Jean Grey. Jean Grey's in the movie, and Sadie's playing Jean Grey. And I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I don't want Jean Grey as a villain, right? She's obviously in the X-Men story. She becomes a villain. The Phoenix, like
Oh.
the Dark Phoenix. Like, okay, but I don't want that story with Spider-Man. That's weird, right?
yeah.
To have villain Jean Grey. So in this movie, when it started, I was like hoping that it was a bullshit, leak or spoiler that it wasn't real. So they started showing it with whatever this being is jumping person to person,
Yeah.
like a spirit or just like some type of demonic, whatever, just taking over people's bodies, possessing and running, jumping person to person. Which I was like, okay, cool. That ain't Jean. I'm in. But I don't know any Spider-Man character who does that, villain or anything.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure where this was going at all. I just assumed it had to be, where's her name? Sadie, right? The chick from Stranger Things?
Yes.
Max. I'll just call her Max, because fuck it, Max. Like, I figured if she was going to be the villain, I'm like, but she must not be Jean Grey. I just don't know who she's going to portray. But it was really the way they did it with the whole jumping. I thought was
Throws
really
you off.
Well,
It throws you off a little because you don't think it's Jean.
right. But I liked how they did it though, and it's acting, but the way the people portrayed getting possessed,
Yeah.
being unpossessed, and just watching like as it went around, and Spider-Man realizing something was fucking going on in the first initial interaction at the prison, or not the prison. That I thought was really well done. I really enjoyed that whole scene. Was it they're breaking out Scorpion, right? Trying to break out Scorpion, which was weird.
Yeah.
I think they're building up Jean Grey's character, and possibly for Dr. Xavier to come find her in this world or this dimension to bring her to school, right? I don't know.
I think she was already heading there, to be honest.
Yeah,
At the end of the
yeah.
film, she was heading upstate on a bus, and that's where Xavier's school's always traditionally been depicted, upstate New York, and she was clearly heading up there.
Yeah.
The leaves were changing and everything else, and like as soon as I saw it, I'm like, that's where she's going. I think that's kind of what it was about. And
So
I think
It'd be interesting.
So is Professor X in this universe, and then this breaks him out into this universe?
we don't know. And I mean, I think that's what's interesting about this. Professor X's first two students were Jean Grey and Cyclops.
Yeah.
Right. And Jean he found because she was traumatized and her powers were manifesting and she couldn't control them, and she wasn't killing people or anything, but people were experiencing like terrible things, and it was just really bad. And he hears about it and he shows up, and when he shows up, kind of what leads to the Dark Phoenix way down the road in the comics is that to kind of get her under control so she can learn to control her powers, he places all these psychic blocks in her mind so she can't access all this crazy power she has. And when she's inhabited by the Phoenix Force, it breaks those walls down.
Yeah.
And
Jericho.
and she just kind of explodes with power, and that power corrupts her. So it's going to be interesting how they handle this, because we saw at the end when her sister's like, "You're more powerful than any of us." And one day she's like, "You think we could stop everybody at once?" And she's like, "If we were strong enough." And then you see Jean actually do that. And so we know that she's super strong.
So just because you brought up that part, even though it's a pretty far jump into the future of or along the story, I can't be the only person who kind of wanted the sister to be 11, right? Am I the only one who kind of just wanted that Easter egg of the sister being 11? Yeah, no, I'm the only one. All right, well, fuck y'all.
I never thought that thought never crossed my mind.
Well, because like right now, it's if you look at it, it's like, all right, yeah, it's not Max. It's she's an actress, but her most famous role right now has been Max from Stranger Things, right? And you have her doing things that can be not the exact same thing as 11 did in Stranger Things, but similar type things.
Yeah.
So when they got this, they show that the girl, because there was a couple scenes when they were talking to each other, a couple of angles. I was like, holy shit, is that the girl? Is that 11? But then another angle, like, oh no, that's not her. I was like, I think that it would have been just a throwaway Easter egg for fans to be like, oh yeah, look, she's getting trained by her sister who's 11 type of thing. But they didn't give me that. Fuckers.
It's definitely interesting, and when you asked me if it got ruined for me, it was the only thing that made sense, right? Like you have this actress. We knew that they had cast her as soon as the first rumor came out that they were going to introduce mutants in the Spider-Man movie. My first assumption was, okay, well, Sadie Sink is going to play Jean Grey, right? Like, what else is she going to play? Then when the first trailer shows people controlling other people, it's like, okay, well, so you have a redhead, right? And now somebody's controlling people. Like, who is that going to be? Because you're not going to cast an actor like Sadie Sink in a role that doesn't matter, right? Like, you're going to cast them to play a big role, and in that case, it has to be a big character. How many telepathic redhead characters do we have in Marvel that it could be?
But to trump that, right? Well, to go over that, the possibilities, right? Because we're looking at Marvel. When you look at the history of Marvel and a lot of their characters, original Spider-Man series, we had Kristen Dunst or whatever the Dunst was, MJ.
Yeah,
she's a blonde. She's a redhead in the movie. Then you have the exact opposite.
But that wasn't Marvel, though.
Just listen to what I'm saying. Jesus, you have to argue. Then you look at Garfield's movie. They had fucking Emma Stone, who is a redhead, and made her blonde, right? So the point is that my mind, like, if she's in the movie, I'm not. For all I know, they could be dyeing her hair black for you know what I mean? Like, yeah, she's a redhead, and that's what it makes sense to be Jean Grey. But at the same time, a wig or hair dye, she could be a complete any other character of any hair color. That's why it's like she'll most likely be Jean, but she didn't have to be. They could have made her a different character who wasn't a redhead with a little dye.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that was going to be a thing.
And it wasn't.
When they cast her, it was like, well, she's not going to be a comic accurate MJ because we already have an MJ, and they're not just going to replace Zendaya with somebody else, especially when they bring Zendaya back, right? Like, so if Zendaya wasn't in the movie, it'd be like, oh, well, maybe we're going to get like a comic accurate MJ. But since that wasn't the case, I was like, yeah, it's probably going to be Jean Grey. It's the only thing that really makes sense.
Oh, man.
I knew going into the movie that Jean Grey is in it because I heard a spoiler, but the way that they did it made you second guess it, which I was happy about because I almost thought it would have been her sister that was doing this, and maybe Jean would have been, trying to get back to her sister, trying to find her sister that's doing this behind the scenes.
So when I was talking to can't remember Zach about it before we watched it, before I watched it, before it came out, because I had heard the Jean Grey, and I brought it to him. He's like, I don't care about the movie. I'm not probably going to see it this next. So we were talking about it, and he was in the same mindset I was. I'm like, using Jean Grey as a villain, it's nobody wants her as a villain. Like, that's not what we want. We want Jean Grey as Jean Grey, right? Maybe an origin story, how she came up, but we don't want her as a villain. But then he went on. I never even knew Jean Grey had a sister before. So he went on and say, well, maybe it's not Jean Grey. Maybe it's her sister, because there's a run of comics where her sister like portrays other people and like takes over like their personas and acts like them in the comics and does stuff. He's like, maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe it's going to be her sister. So I was like, oh, I never even knew that was a thing.
I think
watching it, they kept calling her Jean. Like, all right, it's got to be Jean. But then they brought up the sister. I'm like, oh, well, at least they mentioned the sister.
Yeah.
Right. And then, okay, well, it's definitely not her. So she's 100% Jean. So we're not even going that route.
I think this was the traumatic event that made her visible to Dr. Xavier. So I think that's, this is the making of Jean Grey's character and why Dr. Xavier starts the school. And, maybe they're going to throw in a mutant movie where he recruits her right off of Spider-Man. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you think that, affecting 1 kilometer area, so it's like, 3 miles about?
It's a lot of people.
Yeah. In one shot, that would definitely send up a red flag to a, Professor X.
I could see Professor X's cerebrum while that happens. Right, like that could be the intro to Doomsday or whatever. He's sitting there in Cerebrum, and then everybody just shuts off, and then he centers on Jean Grey, and then goes and gets her.
What concerns me is you don't get Jean Grey killing people until she turns evil in the comics, right?
That's okay. So, this is one of my big gripes about this movie, like my only gripe.
And in this, well, I mean, I have several, but in this movie, you see things that any normal person is going to be like, yeah, that person's dead. Now, the writers and the director have come out and said Jean Grey doesn't kill anybody in this film.
No, just the fucking truck that hit the guy did. Okay, sure.
Well, so they're saying, and again, it's one of those arguments that people make for Batman. Well, if it didn't happen on screen, did it actually happen or did something else happen? But that moment specifically where the guy steps out in front of the vehicle, I don't know how you would explain that away. It's not like Jean lifted him in the air telepathically to save him from getting hit by the bus, right? So it's like, I don't know.
And Spider-Man couldn't save because he was having one of his moments where he was like losing control. Right, yeah. So Spider-Man didn't even attempt to save him. And then she also makes 2 of the security guards shoot each other. So,
yeah.
So
again, it's like they're saying that she doesn't actually kill anyone. She definitely terrorizes people, and she definitely makes people afraid and commits crimes, but that she doesn't actually kill anyone. And I want to believe that, but it's difficult to believe that based on what you see happening in the movie.
But like you said, it depends. If you go by the rules, if it didn't happen on screen, it doesn't count. Because if she froze everybody within like a 3-mile radius, what if there was somebody like in a pool? Like, they got froze underwater for however long that whole that whole thing took. Like somebody had to die.
Someone died. Yeah.
But I don't know. You said
no, I'm with you. That was my one big gripe. Was that, and now if she's killing people, I'm not whatever. If whatever it is, because she's in this movie, she's not a villain. She's what Marvel likes to do with a lot of their villains. She's a villain by circumstance, right? She's not going around just killing people. She's not being Thanos, right? Like she's trying to find her sister, trying to save her sister, and doing everything she can, and she keeps attacking damage control. She keeps attacking them. She's not just going and like attacking a children's daycare. Like she's only attacking damage control, the people who have her sister. So that's why I was like, well, she killed that guy with the guy hit by the car. Like she made guards shoot themselves or shoot each other. But then when she finally gets to the point and she finds out that her sister is dead, she can't now kill the guy who killed her sister, essentially, right? Oh, now she has this moral compass. Say, oh, I have to slow down. I'm going to be slow. Don't come closer or I'll kill him. Just fucking kill him. You've killed other people already to get to this point. Just fucking kill him. Be done with it. So that was like, how she just kill a nobody, but did not kill a guy who deserves to be killed.
I think that in that moment, she was thinking about everything that Peter had said to her.
No, she hadn't done it yet, right?
No, I'm not talking about when she was in her head. I'm not talking about with Aunt May.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the conversations that she and Peter had up to that point, right?
Gotcha.
Where Peter's like, this isn't the way to do it. There's different ways, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, you don't understand what's going on. You don't understand what's at stake, blah, blah, blah. Right? So I think at that moment she was really considering what her sister might have wanted, what her responsibility might be. But I mean, yeah, she absolutely could have killed him if she wanted to, without, in a millisecond.
Like on the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, and then you said that that's really your only gripe. It's a big gripe. I have a couple of other things that frustrate me that I guess we'll get to as it goes along. But
I mean, we're already bouncing around, but so in this movie, I really enjoyed Punisher. I thought he was great. I wish he could be as nice to Daredevil as he is to fucking Spider-Man. Like, he's a real dick to Daredevil.
Was he introduced in Daredevil?
But
I didn't know he was introduced in Daredevil, the same character.
Yeah, so he's in that's actually where he got introduced, was Daredevil season 2 on Netflix. That was his introduction. And then he was in season 3, and then he was in the first season of Daredevil Born Again.
Yep. You haven't watched the Daredevil and Punisher shows on Netflix?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
those are really good.
Yeah,
yeah. I really like this Frank Castle and this Punisher, so I think I will watch them. Yeah,
but even the Daredevil show was really good. I haven't seen the new one, but the original ones were really good. I wasn't a fan of the fucking the punching guy, because they did 4 characters.
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. That I wasn't a big fan of that one.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones, I didn't mind it. Luke Cage, I enjoyed, and then the Daredevil was really good. The Defenders, they all came together, was pretty damn good, and then the Punisher was really good.
The first season of Punisher was good. I was not overly impressed with the second season. I felt like they made it just because they needed to make something, and it didn't have the emotional impact of the first season.
I don't remember if I saw the second season.
All of the last seasons of every show they did. So like season 1 of Jessica Jones was fantastic, right? Season 2 was also very good. Season 3 was terrible. Daredevil was
got
really
season 3
all the way through. Like all 3 seasons of Daredevil were great. Luke Cage season 1 I thought was really slow, and then season 2 I just didn't think was very good. I never watched season 2 of Iron Fist, and season 1 was good, but they just didn't give the character enough to do, right? So it's like they showcased the wrong parts of the character, in my opinion. They made him kind of whiny because they didn't want him to be the same as Daredevil. So they were trying to make him different. They tried to make him younger. They tried to make him more naive. But yeah, Joe, I would absolutely recommend, like Chris said, go back and watch at least the 3 seasons of Daredevil.
Yeah.
Watch the seasons of Punisher. And then if you haven't seen Daredevil Born Again, watch those. Because it's essentially a direct continuation. But I mean, that brings me to one of my biggest gripes. I don't understand how you have a Spider-Man movie that's street level. You're showing Queens, you're showing Hell's Kitchen, you have the Punisher, and you don't have Daredevil, right? Like,
is he in jail? Is he in jail in the show?
No.
You sure? I keep seeing people pop up saying that, because Daredevil's in jail or sitting in jail watching Frank and Spider-Man have fun together or something.
I don't believe that he's in jail, no. I mean, they were talking about arresting him, but I don't want to give the last season away and what happens. I don't think he's in jail, right? But it's like, in the comic books, Daredevil and Spider-Man team up all the time. And they teased it in No Way Home when you have Matt Murdock show up as the attorney.
Right.
And it was exciting because I love Daredevil. I love Spider-Man. It's like, okay, well, if Frank's going to be there, you know Daredevil's going to be there. And then he wasn't there. It's like, all right, why did we do this? Why do you tease it in No Way Home and then you don't do anything about it in the movie where it's only street level?
So I was talking about this earlier today with Moo in the chat. As much as I enjoyed Punisher, right? I enjoyed him a lot in this movie. He was funny. But the only reason to me that he's in this movie at all is to shoot Spider-Man. They just needed to have a reason, introduce him, and lead up to eventually he shoots Spider-Man, right? Like, you needed a reason for Spider-Man to be killed, not almost killed in this case, but not by the villain, not by Jean. You needed something, and you've got this, anti-hero who's trying to kill Jean Grey because she's a threat, right? And to me, that's the only reason he's actually in this movie is to shoot Spider-Man.
I don't know that I agree with that.
Because if you take him out, the only other part that he's used for in this movie that you'd have to explain some other way of it happening is blowing up the vault, right? You could take him out of the rest of the movie, it won't change the movie.
I mean, okay, I get the argument that you're making. I don't agree with it because I think that Frank is in there for a very specific reason. I think that Frank is there to show what happens when you lose everybody you care about and then you don't make an effort to keep living and to keep growing, right? And that's very evident in the scene where he's talking to Peter and he's like, "That's your girlfriend. You love that girl, right?" And he's like, "No, I don't." And he's like, "Don't bullshit me, kid." And he starts talking to him. And he's like, "You don't want to be like me," right? And I think that that's the reason the Punisher is in there, because you have a guy who had everything he wanted and lost all of it. And now the only thing left in his life is vengeance, right? The only thing left in his life is vengeance. And that vengeance is doled out to every criminal because nothing he ever does is going to bring his family back. And he is not willing to open himself up again because he's already lost everything and he's not willing to go through it. And that's where we find Spider-Man in this movie. He's lost everything. He has nobody. And he could make the decision to stay that way and end up like Frank. But and Frank is there to make sure it doesn't happen.
Now, can it be argued that they could have used plenty of other characters in the repertoire of characters for a similar story, but a lot of them, or most of them, wouldn't be ones outside of a villain who would be able to do what Punisher did?
No, not unless, again, not if they wanted to keep it street level, right? Because
you've got the Hulk, so you don't have to keep it street level now, right? You've got the Hulk.
They wanted to focus. They wanted to focus the story on Spider-Man as a street level character, and he really is in the movie, right? He is not a great, and they highlight that over and over again when he goes to Yelena and he's asking for help. She's like, "We don't deal with this. This is incredibly small potatoes. I have to deal with the very big potatoes." She's like, We're not dealing with this. You deal with it. And she says that twice. So they're driving home that this is a very insignificant issue compared to everything else in the MCU.
Okay.
And so, again, in that instance, I feel Frank is the only way that you could do that. You can't do it with, even if they decide to focus more on Hulk, right? And Bruce Banner. You can't do that with Bruce Banner because Bruce Banner loved Betty, was in love because he's allegedly the same Hulk as Edward Norton was. He had that whole love. Then he lost it, right? Then he fell in love with Black Widow. Then he left her. Then he fell in love with one of the women on the planet where he was fighting and ended up having a son. Then he comes back and discovers that he's got a cousin who's now a Hulk. His son shows up in the last episode of She-Hulk. His son Scar, right? He shows up. There's a picture of Scar in Spider-Man Brand New Day on Hulk's desk. So like Hulk has family. Hulk has people that he cares about and that care about him. Punisher's got nobody. Nobody gives a shit about Frank Castle, and he doesn't give a shit about anybody else.
Well, you ran with Hulk, and I wasn't saying that they could use Hulk for that. I was saying that they have Hulk. They're using Hulk as in it's not just street level, right? They could have brought other characters who could have done the same general idea of the loneliness, right? And they could have introduced a new character that we haven't seen yet and done that.
And they did. They just did it in the opposite way with Jean Grey. Like if you look at it, Jean Grey's like whole arc is mirroring Peter's, but it looks like it's going to go the opposite way until Peter brings her back into the light.
Right, but I'm saying, but the exact reason why you said it for Frank, right, for Punisher, like there's other characters they could have used for that, but I think for what they were trying to do, and that character, with the fact that Punisher would have no problem shooting and killing, right, would have made him the perfect candidate for everything that they would need for this movie, right? Because like you could have, like I said, they could have introduced another character to have been doing that, but then they would have to find somebody else to how you're going to kill Spider-Man or potentially kill Spider-Man on accident. No other superhero is going to do that.
Hawkeye would have.
No, I don't think so.
Elena Belova would have. She
may have.
People, right? Like I think that they could have picked other people. I think that they chose Frank specifically because of where he is and where the audience know he is after all the things he's done. Right.
He's put up. I mean, Elena, she's lives in a bathhouse, and her sister's dead for the second time. So.
Especially since it shows Frank at the end of, and I guess you guys didn't see this, but before Brand New Day, they had the one last kill, the Punisher.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Kill,
yeah,
right. Like you see at the end of that why Frank is fighting in that short, and it's because somebody kind of reached him, and I don't want to give anything away because I want both of you guys to see it, but like something kind of breaks through that a little bit, and I think that that's kind of they wanted the audience to pick back up on after seeing that in One Last Kill, that this is where Frank is now, because we see an entire growth in Frank at the end of this film, and while there's no definitive answer that he's going to continue kind of moving and thinking the same way that he did at the end of the film, it's also he probably could, right? Like we might see a different side of Frank that came from this movie, and for it to still be like that.
Okay. So
in chat, Cow says Moose says it also stopped Gene from being like the Punisher. So that kind of reminds me of the whole Cable killing Deadpool to stop Fire Fist from becoming who he was. Like the same plot line.
But he also knows that you can't kill Deadpool.
Without a collar, or with the collar you can.
That's true. Speaking of the collar, we've seen now the creation of that technology.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, right when Peter's talking to Hulk, or Banner at this point, about the technology, you knew right where it was going, right? Like, you're like, okay, he's going to start to suppress. This is eventually going to lead to where we saw in Deadpool, where they have it around their necks. There was another movie where they had it, but I think it was not part of the MCU, where they had a device that they put on and it subdued their powers.
Yeah, they did that in X-Men, in X-Men 2.
But that was a shot, though, wasn't it?
No, in X3 it was a shot, but
okay.
in X2 we find out that Stryker's son had that. Angel. Yeah, they went into his brain and they took something out of his brain, but then they hooked him up to a thing so he could only use the power they wanted him to use.
So now we have Spider-Man has created this thing, right? And you can only assume that while it was on Gene at Damage Control, they studied the shit out of it to see what he had done, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, as we also found out, Damage Control put their measures together to prepare to fight Spider-Man, right? they found out all his weaknesses at the time with his technology and all that.
Yeah.
So we've now gotten that's now a thing in this world, is that we can now subdue powers and turn people, or those with abilities, to normal people, or just mute them a little bit, because Spider-Man didn't lose his powers, he just had it muted so he can not rage out and turn into an 8-legged creature. Which I feel like they should have just fucking hinted at that and made him fucking grow 2 more sets of arms.
Yeah, I don't. And then I guess that brings up another thing. I did not like the way they handled this evolution in Spider-Man. I didn't think that it was thought out very well. I didn't think that it was deployed effectively. There's no explanation for why it triggered other than he's under stress, right? And we get that from Keith David narrating the Spider video, where in moments of stress, a spider might be able to tap into other powers. But what are these new powers, right? His eyes go black? Like, that's okay, cool. His eyes go black, and apparently he can see things more. He can slow things down more with his spider sense. But is it available all the time now, right? Like, because it was going, and then he turned it off. So now, can he turn it on and off? Is it just always there? Like, there's no explanation for any of that stuff. And what exactly happens, right? Does it make him stronger? They don't explain any of it at all. None of it.
But they showed it, right? So in that, like the video, obviously, the idea is that the spider also molts, right? It sheds its skin to a new, bigger version, right? That's the whole point. And he's like, oh, I don't want to do that. He turned the shit off because he doesn't want to picture himself coming out of his skin.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that I feel is showing him growing and what's going on. So we know now that he can control, he can use the fucking normal webs, his biological web. He uses that freely now, right? Because during the battle with the hand, he used that without even being black-eyed.
Yeah.
Right? He got control of it. He finally got that control. So, I mean, it does, in theory, it's going to make him stronger. It makes him more sensitive. It heightens all of his abilities. He's getting stronger.
So is he now Tobey Maguire Spider-Man strong? Because Tobey Maguire is way more powerful, in my opinion, than his Spider-Man. So... And he's got the biological web, so maybe this Peter Parker didn't hit that evolution that Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker hit to get to that point. So maybe he's like in the middle of that.
I mean, also then you use the argument, it's different universes. Tobey started off with the organic webs, like it's.
I would argue that Tobey Maguire it's not that he's stronger. It's that he's way more experienced, right? Like, so if you see, part of the reason I love No Way Home is because they show so many of the differences between the Spider-Men, right? So when Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield have that little battle in the kitchen, right? You see Andrew Garfield is doing the same moves that Tobey Maguire is doing, but Tobey is better at them, right? Instead of just doing the flip that Andrew Garfield does, Tobey does the same flip but pushes off with his leg, so he lands faster, so he's able to shoot his webs faster. And there's all these little nuances in there where Tobey, you can tell he's been Spider-Man so much longer, he's using that experience in everything.
I don't think it's just experience though. Like in No Way Home, if you compare Tobey fighting Goblin, right, in the first movie, and compare this Spider-Man to fighting Goblin, it's a no-brainer. Like, Goblin shook it off in No Way Home. He's like, oh, you're hitting me? He's like laughing and antagonizing with a laugh, where in the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, like, he was, he had to regress and like try to play on his feelings so he'd back off because he was kicking his ass. And then in the one scene of No Way Home where he had the glider and he's going to kill Goblin, and Tobey gets in front and just stops it. Like, you know, he's definitely, you know, if you're sitting there with rage and you're about to throw a glider into somebody and Toby gets in front of you and just like pushes it off like nothing, he's way more stronger than we give him credit for.
But and very well, yeah. I mean, it makes sense, and that he knows how to use it better, like John said, because he's got more experience, right? Which that could all be tied into: is he stronger at all times, or is he just stronger in those moments because he knows that this is when I need to be stronger? So I access what we see Peter now, or Tom Holland's Spider-Man starting to learn, right?
And also remember the great scene from No Way Home when they're talking to Tom Holland. And Andrew Garfield tells him, after I lost Uncle Ben and then after I lost Gwen, I just thought I would fall into Spider-Man and I would just help people. And then I realized that I stopped pulling my punches. I stopped protecting people, right? And that moment is really powerful because you see that when he's fighting Green Goblin in the hallway, when Tom Holland's fighting Green Goblin in the hallway, he's pulling his punches, right? And that's why Goblin is laughing, and that's why, there's everything, going on, and he doesn't seem affected. And you mentioned Tobey Maguire, but if you go back to the first couple of times that Tobey and Green Goblin fought, Green Goblin's doing the same shit. He's laughing at him. He's not affected. The hits aren't doing anything. It's not until their final fight when Goblin almost kills MJ. He had already almost killed Aunt May. Then he told Peter, he's like, hey, once I'm done with you, I'm going back, and MJ and I are going to have a hell of a time, right? And then at that point, Tobey Maguire's not pulling his punches. Like, he's fighting, and he's trying to end it. And then he's saved, essentially, because his thinking kicks in, and once that happens, he starts pulling back. That's when Goblin tries to kill him with the glider, and he gets out of the way. We see that same thing happening in No Way Home. Tom Holland's Spider-Man is pulling his punches. He doesn't want to hurt Green Goblin, but then Goblin kills Aunt May, right?
Yeah.
And the next time they fight, Tom Holland's beating the shit out of him. Like, he hits him once in the face, and Goblin's like down on his knees. He fell. He's struggling to get up. And so I think it's perspective, right? All these things answer that question.
So I want to touch back on part of the movie that I think it was one of the first parts of the movie where the audience was all shocked, at least in my viewing. Because, like, the audience was quiet. But, so we see this scene where Spider-Man's chasing the unknown entity, jumping between people.
Yeah.
Finds out it can only go 33 feet. Right? Finds it out. Cool. Ties it up in the middle of the fucking, what is it, like cranes.
Yeah, construction zone, yeah.
That way there's nobody within 33 feet. You can't get away. Then he goes to protect MJ. Man, that scene, after he protects MJ, they go swinging through the New York. They get to that rooftop. And the scene when she's like, I know you, or you know me, like they're making it seem like she's putting things together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But so you're sitting there, you're watching this, and that's where I said that I was afraid that they're gonna make this whole movie about him trying to have MJ remember him.
Yeah.
So they start this, I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna like just let it be done and fucking like screw that. We're gonna make her remember him right now. Cool. So they're doing that. She's putting it together. They do the kiss. Shit you not. When they stop kissing, and she says, I forgot what she says. Oh yeah, you can't sense me anymore. Everybody like gasped, and one person in the audience is like, God damn! Like,
was that Che? Was Che there?
like, that moment, people were like, I guess they were so invested in the moment of she's gonna remember him. She's gonna remember. That's it. And then boom, people were.
It hit me too.
Right. But now that scene right there makes me, because I had started mentioning earlier, but I wanted to hold off on it. where I was saying how the spell erases Peter from the memory, but not Spider-Man. But MJ would then remember all the times that she's dealt with Spider-Man, all the times like Sadie said it, or Jean said to her, "You saved me here, you saved me there, you're always there to save us." But that's never brought up again from MJ.
No, but
right?
it was brought up before that. When they're in the when Peter meets Ned for the first time, and he's like, "I've been trying to figure out who Spider-Man is." He's like, "Spider-Man saved us here at this thing."
That's right. He did mention it. Okay.
So like he still remembers all the time Spider-Man protected them. So we're supposed to believe that MJ remembers all those times too.
No, that's fair. I forgot Ned said that because I'm like, she didn't remember him there, right?
Yeah.
Like at all that Spider-Man had any effect on it. But that's right. Ned did mention it. That's fair. Okay. All right. I'll allow it because you're right. But so, bro, that scene, and then people like to say like, "Oh, she was going to kill MJ. That's why she jumped." Like, no, she wasn't going to kill MJ. She knew that Spider-Man would save MJ. Like, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. This wasn't the guy in the car situation. Like, Spider-Man was going to make that shit happen. So, one other thing that I didn't think about until recently, I think I was talking with Moo about it last week. Now this, I didn't think about it when I watched it because I had forgotten. But as I saw scenes, because people would keep showing the scenes of in No Way Home, when the Spider-Mans first come into the universe.
Yeah.
With Toby and Andrew's Spider-Man. Ned is using Doctor Strange's magic.
Yep.
Ned was also practicing magic. Where the fuck he go? He's not doing it anymore? Like, that was completely abandoned.
He was practicing, right? He was practicing in the class, right? Like a wizard. I don't want to say wizard class, but wasn't he practicing his spells?
He just had the sling ring and he was using it until Doctor Strange came back, and then Doctor Strange took the ring back, and then Doctor Strange said, "Were you using this?" And he's like, "Yes, sir, I was." And he's like, "Okay, that might look." He says something about we might need to look into that more, but you never see anything else happen with that.
Maybe I'm thinking.
I could have sworn there was like something with him and Wong, like training him.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking Universe of Madness when at the end, was it America? Is that her name? She's in the class. She's in the class doing that, learning magic.
Maybe because I could have sworn that they either mentioned or hinted at him learning, like going like being taken like under Wong's wing.
Yeah,
to learn because of what he did. And it's like, all right, but even then, like that's another issue when it comes to their memory, right? It's like
because it just disappeared.
Well, it just disappeared. But Ned, that means that Ned and MJ know that there's 3 different Spider-Men.
Yeah, I see your point. So they don't remember. So
they know there's 3. Now, do they forget the other Peter Parkers or just that Peter? Like, there's a lot here, man. I need answers, goddammit.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't remember ever seeing Ned practicing with Wong. Or
like
Strange, but I mean that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. I just don't remember it.
I don't know why I can't remember it. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember something of it. Like I don't remember. I thought it was like a throwaway scene type of thing, but I could be wrong. But like I said, it's just that's those things that like obviously when you start looking too much into movies, that maybe they just haven't given you the answer yet, or it's just something that they're not focused on because it really isn't important to anything. So you just kind of got to forget it, right? You got to fucking Men in Black flashy thing yourself.
Yeah.
To forget those things. Because right now that means MJ and Ned know that there's 3 different Spider-Man. But.
Yeah. And they didn't even bring it up. They didn't talk about it. Yeah.
Like which Spider-Man are you? Are you this one? Or are you that? Like which? Like
something like that. Yeah. Something like that. In the college scene when he went to go talk to Banner, and the kid's like, "Hey, why didn't Thanos just snap his fingers and make more food?" So is that an Easter egg for Sydney Moon? Because I'm hearing a lot of noise like that's Sydney Moon's appearance as Silk, or
allegedly that's exactly why they put her there, so that it's kind of like an introduction to the character Silk. What they'll do with it, if they do anything, who knows? I think before they introduce Silk, before they introduce any of that, we're gonna have to get a Miles Morales, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna need a Miles Morales, and I want them to do it where there's two Spider-Man working, right? Like you have Miles and you have Peter. Not that Miles comes in and Peter dies. We don't need to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Didn't they announce that a Miles Morales movie is going to come out?
No, but they did say that they're thinking about Miles Morales, and allegedly,
the internet wants a Miles Morales live action so goddamn bad that any black actor in this movie, people are like, "Oh, that's Miles." Like, people need to calm the fuck down, right?
Allegedly, people are thinking that I think his name is Caleb. He's in Stranger Things as well. People are thinking he's going to be Miles Morales.
So, but from this movie, right? Because like I said, people are digging. They want that so bad. I don't know the actor's name, but the one guy when Peter walks out from blowing himself up from the alleyway, he kind of sets off the web bombs on accident.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy walking down the street. There's a black guy, and he starts talking because it's Jean Grey in his body.
Yeah.
So people are like, "Oh, that's him. That could be it." Then the kid earlier in the movie, people saying that when the bus goes flying and Spider-Man saves the kid that was running or on like a scooter, pulls him off, like pats him on the head 3 times. Like, oh, that's the same thing that Tony did to Peter Parker when he was first in the movie as a child in one of the Iron Man movies. So that's going to be Miles Morales. Then people are also trying to say that the little kid that's on the shoulders of a dad when Spider-Man's in the hospital and looks at Spider-Man and does the flip, they're saying, "Oh, that's going to be Miles Morales." That's why, because he knows that like, y'all, and people want this goddamn Miles Morales so bad that any ethnic actor in Spider-Man Brand New Day is apparently going to be Miles Morales.
And I can understand why, because I like the Miles Morales character. I think that it's similar enough to the history of Spider-Man that it doesn't take a huge leap of faith, but it's different enough to justify having 2 Spider-Men in the same movie, right? And I think that it would fit in now because Tom Holland's Spider-Man no longer needs web shooters, right? So if you have Miles Morales, who has always used web shooters, like gaining power and then being trained by Spider-Man, he could pass that stuff to Miles, right? Like, it would fit. The question would just be, what kind of Miles do you bring in? Like, is he going to be, let's say, 20 years old? Is he going to be 15 years old? Like, what are we going to do?
I mean, I think if anything, a late teen, right? I mean, you can get away with it because even though Tom Holland is older now, he still looks young 30, as hell.
Yeah.
But he still looks young as shit, right?
Yeah.
So you could probably get away with that. People, like I said, they think it's the little kid that was on the shoulders. If they're going to do Miles Morales, it's not going to be that little kid because they need somebody older. They're not going to have a child, right?
Yeah.
Also, people need to realize that in that scene, that was Jean using the kid to essentially say goodbye to Peter. That's what that was.
Yep.
Because they showed that's it. Peter smiles, the kid turns away, and then they showed Jean smiling on the bus.
Yep.
Like, that was that moment. There was no deeper meaning behind that moment. It was just her saying bye.
I didn't catch that, but now that I think about it, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because like what? So when he comes out of the hospital, because we all want obviously Ned and MJ to remember Peter, right? So I was like, yo, they're going to come out of the hospital and New York's going to fucking remember him because maybe Jean's, got in her mind when she froze, 3 miles of the city and it broke the spell because she screwed up whatever. I'm like, watch, they're all going to fucking remember him. This is going to be awesome. And then I'm like, oh, there goes. And then it's like, oh, no, it's Punisher up in the window fucking dancing around like a maniac that everybody's looking at. I'm like, okay, fair.
Wait.
I do think that, sorry to cut you off, Joe. I do think
no, you're good.
They might have hinted at maybe MJ and Ned remember a little bit because Jean Grey was in their minds. Maybe she did go into their mind and see if she could kind of put things back together. Because she did say when she was in MJ's mind, she's like, yeah, they just cut whole sections of you out. Right? Like there's
nothing about you at all. Like you're gone.
Yeah, like she can't access anything about you at all. And so maybe she goes in and she can fix it. Maybe she brought it back. Who knows?
I don't think that's it. Now, I know Jean in the history of Jean, she can give memories, she can make fake memories. She can do that stuff. But she doesn't have that ability that we're aware of yet, right? She just learned she can fucking do what she's doing. I think it's a failsafe set by Strange, right? So you have different aspects. You have Banner or Hulk who remembers something, right? And people can say, oh, because Hulk wasn't out when it happened, so Hulk's mind remembers. Cool. You could say Ned, because we have that moment. Peter goes up to Ned. Hey, how you doing? I'm so-and-so, Peter. They go to shake hands, and they start doing the handshake. Peter forces the handshake. But then Ned's muscle memory continues, right? So...
And then he says at the end of it, he's like,
Peter.
Yeah.
But you could argue that he heard MJ call Spider-Man Peter, right?
Yeah.
You could argue that he was just putting together that, you're Spider-Man. You could argue that.
Yeah.
But the look on his face when the muscle memory, it's almost like if he got rid of all the aspects of Peter, but he remembers, just essentially we could assume he remembers that there's 3 Spider-Men. He remembers that I used to hang out with Spider-Man all the time in the suit, right? I have a lot more memories that he just saved my life. Like I have a lot of memories, even essentially, seeing him in Peter's bedroom the first time wearing a suit, Ned wearing a suit, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like the muscle memory hit, and then he started filling in the blanks.
Well, remember, he wouldn't remember anything about Peter's bedroom because he wouldn't remember Peter.
But he can but he can remember being in a bedroom with Spider-Man. He might not know he won't know it's Peter's bedroom. He was just in a bedroom, right? He just forgot everything about Peter. So if you sit there, if you think that they got rid of all Peter imagery. So, like I said earlier, what is it? They're sitting there talking to Spider-Man anytime he saved them or whatever, or they see him, and then he rips his mask off. Now all of a sudden their mind goes blank because they don't remember that, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if those moments start getting filled. Like, oh shit, that Peter, because now he heard Spider-Man get called Peter. Now he starts putting it together that, oh shit, and now his memory starts coming back, which would also lead to thinking that scene on the roof with Zendaya possessed by Jean Grey, and Jean Grey specifically saying, oh, you thought the kiss of the prince or whatever was going to break the magic spell. Almost like that's going to foreshadow that's exactly what's going to fucking happen. That they're going to get to a point in the next movie or whatever, Zendaya starts feeling for him, whatever, and they do have a moment where they kiss, and then the memories will start coming back the same way. Like that muscle memory is the last trigger that bam hits. That unlocks it. I think that that's going to wind up being a safeguard that Strange had put in for this spell.
I don't think so, but it'll be interesting if it happens.
I mean, something's gonna give. I mean, if it is Jean, it's Jean, but it's the way it's going. It seems that there's more to it than just Jean turning on memories, because then Ned would have just remembered everything. But then you also have Zendaya, who's up on the roof now, right, holding her locket. Yeah. Like now she's starting to put things together too. It's taken longer, but things are slowly starting to come back, filling in those gaps because essentially, if anything, because he told him who he was.
Yeah.
Like she now knows that he's Peter. Now everything will slowly trickle back in.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, imagine that. Like, Strange, like, yeah, they're going to forget about you, but you go up and introduce yourself as Peter Parker, and you put them back, you back in their life, might be enough to start trickling the memories back in. Because you're the one who's making it happen versus them just remembering on their own.
Yeah. Was MJ's boyfriend Flash or no? Different guy?
No.
Okay. I thought it was for a second. I'm like, oh, no, she didn't end up with him.
Apparently, there's speculation that he's going to wind up being some other green, not a Green Goblin or Hobgoblin, but some other, the Jackal, I think, as well. I read earlier today that he's going to wind up being the Jackal.
They better not do the Jackal.
He's green too, isn't he?
He is green, yeah. But like, I don't want them to do the Jackal because the only thing that the Jackal was good for was the Clone Saga, and we're not going to have the fucking Clone Saga in a Spider-Man movie, and all that's going to do is frustrate me because I want Scarlet Spider, and that's never going to happen. So it's like, just don't bring the Jackal in. It is unnecessary if we don't need it.
Well, if it's going to piss you off, I want them to bring the Jackal in.
I mean, it wouldn't make any sense because the only thing that the Jackal is good for in the comics is he's a geneticist and he's working on cloning, and he ends up like becoming a villain, and then he clones Peter, and it makes this whole complicated thing where you have, Peter's led to believe that he's actually the clone, and so the clone, like Ben Reilly, then becomes Spider-Man, and trust me, I love the Ben Reilly Spider-Man suit. It's my favorite Spider-Man suit is probably the symbiote suit, like the original black suit. Then you got Scarlet Spider. Then you have Ben Reilly as Spider-Man. I just don't see how you could do any of that stuff realistically in a movie. It just so if you can't do what the villain is famous for, why the hell would you bring the villain in?
Who knows? Like I said, that's just internet speculation. Because I guess in the scene where they show him, there's a bottle of like some type of liquor, but the liquor bottle says Green Jackal or something, like the name of the brand. So people are like, oh, because of that, and this guy, he's gonna. So it's speculation. That could just be an Easter egg for, Marvel likes to do Easter eggs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know.
My question. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, ultimately, I really like the movie. It is not my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time, though. It's really not. It's very, very good, and I like it a lot, and I can't wait to watch it again. I'm not going to go to the theater and pay theater prices to watch it again, but when it's available, I will definitely get it. But yeah, I know everybody's an idiot.
No. So Chris calls me. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna do Spider-Man this week, this Thursday." He's like, "You want to be on?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't watch it." He's like, "I'm like, oh, hold on, let me put it on." I put it on the TV and I watched it.
Well, first I was like, "Hey, we're gonna be talking Brand New Day on Thursday. You want in?" He's like, "What's Brand New Day?" But sure. I'm like, the new Spider-Man movie. He's like, "Oh, I haven't watched it."
I literally put it on when you told me and watched it while I was working.
So,
for me, it's definitely Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home are right at the top. They're kind of neck and neck. And then after that, I would probably put this movie.
I think, to be honest, and maybe it's just because it's more recent in my mind, but I think this is my favorite one so far. And the reason I feel that is because, like Joe said earlier, is that this is the first one where it's until obviously you get X-Men involved or potentially X-Men involved. Is that this is the first one where it's like really Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Versus having a lot of Tony Stark going through it, or having 3 other Spider-Men or 2 other Spider-Men. This is like really the kind of the first one where I felt was a little different than the others and kind of set itself apart versus what we've been getting. So I mean, I really did enjoy it. I do wonder, and this is now speculation. Unless there's anything else about this movie you guys want to touch base on? We didn't discuss the Hulk, but like
there's something tangential to this movie that I want to talk about, but I don't know if you want me to do that now.
Hold on, but like I said, we didn't really discuss the Hulk. Was there anything about the Hulk that you guys liked or didn't like the way they used him?
They finally brought back the Hulk, right? Like we actually had a Hulk that was big as hell,
and he still lost the battle.
But again, that's a lot of people, and that's the issue. A lot of people underestimate what Spider-Man can do, when Spider-Man is actually one of the most powerful characters in Marvel.
So,
it's hard to hit something that knows you're about to hit them, right? Like,
no, Hulk was about to kill him, but then they essentially had what we know as the Martha moment, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, and then he lets himself fall. But no, so. What I did like about the Hulk is, like you said, they actually brought back the Hulk and almost Savage Hulk. Like they brought back probably one of the biggest Hulk we've seen in a long time
since the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. Yeah,
I mean you can't say that. I mean, would you say that in Avengers he was that big when he was like jumping around aliens and jumping through aliens?
He was bigger in the Incredible Hulk, and he was bigger in Brand New Day.
Okay. So,
I mean, when he's the same size as when he was flipping Loki around, though, wasn't he? He was
in Brand New Day. He was bigger.
Well, I mean,
because this is the first time in the MCU where they've really shown that the more pissed off he gets, the bigger he gets.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which, if that's the case, that can also be showing for the potential Secret Wars when the Hulk, catches a mountain from falling on him, and everybody's like, "Oh, hit him with your powers to piss him off, so he doesn't allow us to get crushed and killed." So, all right. So I do wonder one thing, and I don't know where you were talking about, John Psycho, where that's going, but we can go to that next. It has nothing to do with this movie, but it has to do with it, but not. I now wonder how or if they're even going to use Jean in Doomsday.
No, they're not.
They're not. Mm-hmm. So you got this powerful ass person that's not going to be part of this at all.
No, because remember, the only X-Men they're using in Doomsday are the legacy.
At least that we know about so far, because apparently there's some characters we haven't even been announced. But because they wouldn't have. I mean, technically, technically they wouldn't have announced her, right? If they're trying to keep her as a surprise for Spider-Man. So.
Technically, according to rumor, all these new characters are in play for Secret Wars. But for Doomsday is specifically going to show the Fox X-Men, the Legacy X-Men. They're going to show the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. They're going to show all those characters from those universes converging. That's what Doomsday is supposed to be about.
Okay. And then... So, what did you want to touch on? There was one more part of this movie I wanted to touch on, and it's the after credit scene.
So, what I wanted to say about it is, really, when Jean left and was heading upstate, the only thing that I could think of is, I really want, and Marvel's not going to do this. I'm almost 100% sure they're not going to do this. I really want them to bring back Fassbender and McAvoy for Xavier and Magneto. They're still young enough to portray the characters properly, and I think that they played the characters so well. Having them be the Professor X and Magneto here full time and actually letting them be what the characters are supposed to be would be fantastic.
So I'm fine with that. This just leads me to asking a question that annoys me. That I feel like they I feel like Loki. I could be absolutely wrong, but I feel like Loki was the first one to actually address it, or maybe not address it, but cause the issue. But like every time we've seen, what do they call them, variants, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you've got all these variants, so like the Deadpool variants, the ones that we saw without masks on, were all Ryan Reynolds. The Hugh Jack or the Wolverine variants were all Hugh Jackman except for Cavalry,
Yep.
and then the little one.
That was still him.
Right.
That was
still him?
Hugh Jackman, yeah.
All right, so Cavalry was the only non-Hugh Jackman variant,
Yes.
but then Loki, it's like every variant he has is a different person, just a different version of Loki.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why, like, some people, I've heard people say similar about, oh, who are they going to, oh, have it be McAvoy and this and that. But like, oh, but they're in this universe. They're not going to be the same actors in this one. But like, why can't they when most of the variants seem to be the same fucking people?
They could be. They absolutely could be. And that's why I said I want Marvel to do it. I just don't think that they will. Right? Like, I think it would be a hard sell for them to get McAvoy and Fassbender back. But I think that it would be the best thing because they already, at that point, they bring legitimacy, right? Like, you know how this, because I would set it up this way. If you're setting up a brand new X-Men team with young X-Men, then you need to have an Xavier that brings that gravitas so that you know, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. We don't need to see him learning how to lead again. If you bring in McAvoy, people will all be, oh, we know he can do it because we saw his variant doing it in this universe. He's going to be able to do it, right? Like, you wouldn't have to give too much setup because people would already know. And it's just like, I thought that they did such great jobs. I don't think you need to recast. I think you just bring them in, be like, this is Xavier, this is Eric Lencher, and then we're moving forward.
So I do have a question, and it has nothing to do with Spider-Man then. Obviously, they're headed towards X-Men.
Yeah.
Now, do you want a X-Men movie? Or would you rather have a bunch of solo movies that lead to an X-Men movie?
I don't need solo movies. For the X-Men, I don't need solo movies. The only person that you could justifiably give a solo X-Men movie, in my opinion, would be Xavier, which isn't necessary. I guess if you want to count Magneto, but that also is not necessary, or Wolverine. And if you're going to give Wolverine a solo movie, you're only going to give him a solo movie because it's a brand new version of Wolverine, and we need to figure out what he's gone through before he joins the team.
See, and I disagree, right? Like, I'm down with, like, Wolverine getting another one, whatever. I want them to do an actual origins, like the comic book origins, and really do that story justice to show that, because they kind of hinted at it in the original origin, and it wasn't as good. But I think we should do a bunch of solos to introduce any of the X-Men that aren't going to be the younger X-Men. Like, if they're going to try and do the whole some are students, some are like maybe teachers, or the more advanced part of it, like give me a Storm movie. Introduce Storm. Don't give me, because some of these characters have such huge stories that they don't get any of the respect they deserve in a X-Men movie.
They could do that in an X-Men miniseries on Disney Plus.
But again,
I don't think it'd be good enough though.
Do they need to do that? Right?
I don't think. I think at this point we know who everybody is.
Did we need an origin movie for the Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes.
And even after that movie was super successful, did we need a Drax origin? Did we need a Rocket and Groot origin? We didn't.
But see, I would argue the difference there, unless you were a diehard comic fan.
Damn it, dog.
You didn't even fucking know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were till the movie came out, right? And you got the basics of what they were. But I feel like the X-Men have been around for so long with such unique personalities and characters that individual movies for specific characters would really work well for helping build up to an X-Men movie.
I think our generation's had it already. I think the next generation would benefit from it.
So I think, so you mentioned Storm, right? I think if you want to do something for Storm, you don't need to give her own movie. What you need to do is put Storm in the next Black Panther movie, right? In the comics, Storm is married to T'Challa. But since T'Challa is now dead in the movies, maybe you have Storm younger and she's married to T'Challa's son, who's going to lead the next Black Panther movie, and he's going to be like 20 years old, right?
I mean, you could.
Like,
at least that way, if you don't want to give them like full movies, like you said, throw them in something to properly introduce them, versus like, oh, here's just this, and then we have to have this first X-Men movie of Professor X gathering all these people, very Samuel L. Jackson in the Avengers style, right? Where I gotta go find you, like. Give us how it all goes through other movies. That way, with the X-Men movie, we don't have to worry about that shit. We can go right into an X-Men story.
But it also depends on, and again, here's where we have to like define our parameters, right? What X-Men do you want in the movie? So, do you want the original, actual First Class, not the First Class we got in the movie, but do you want Scott, Jean, Iceman, Beast, and Angel? That was the original X-Men team. Is that who you want? Right?
I don't care. Like, I don't know. Personally, I don't give a shit.
To be honest, I don't know that I want Angel on the team. And if we're gonna have Beast on the team, I enjoy Beast as a character, but I don't want Beast the way he appeared originally in X-Men. He doesn't need to be a human. He needs to have the blue fur, right? Well, Jean is already introduced. I don't know that you need an introductory movie to introduce Cyclops or Iceman, right? Like, you could have this team already kind of brought together. Maybe the first 20 minutes of the movie is kind of explaining backstories of characters, except you don't have to explain Jean because you saw it in Spider-Man, right? I don't think we need. If I were casting this, I would start with Scott, Jean, Beast, and then Iceman, definitely, because I think that's a cool thing, especially because you have Human Torch already, so you can have Iceman. I think it would work. And instead of Angel, maybe I would put in Gambit, right? So instead of Angel, I'd have Gambit. Or maybe instead of Angel, I would have Sunspot or somebody like that. You don't need Angel.
I know, I want a proper Rogue. I want a goddamn proper Rogue.
I don't. As much as I love Rogue as a character, we don't fucking need Rogue in an X-Men movie. The character, how would you explain it? And when you say proper, what do you mean by proper?
So when I say proper, have her already have abilities, right? Now, to try and explain it, the whole Miss Marvel story, whatever, if you want to go that route, they can figure something out, right? But the Rogue we got in the previous movies was not Rogue.
No, it was not.
Right? I want Rogue flying, super strength. I want Rogue. If you're going to do Rogue, do Rogue.
The issue is
some watered down child Rogue who doesn't know how to fucking do anything but cry and then give up her powers.
And I don't know how they would do that, right? Because again, Rogue only has all those flying and super strength and all that because she stole Miss Marvel's powers.
Correct.
And put her into a coma for years. And then when she came out of that coma and her powers started to remanifest, she had another accident and she got even more powers and then became Captain Marvel. And then when her powers got so high, she became binary, right? Like, I don't know how you take the Captain Marvel that you already have in the MCU and then say that Rogue stole her power. Like, I don't see it.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If you want to they can figure out, but you don't even have to go that route because obviously we see that everybody in the MCU, things get tweaked, right, to make sense for what they got going on. Yeah. There could be other ways for them to do it. I trust if they did that they would do it a way that made proper sense. But when I said, like I said, when I want a proper Rogue, I just want a Rogue who has the abilities that she's supposed to have, that we know her to have, not what the fuck we got in the X-Men movies. That's just if we're gonna. I want flying rogue. I want southern accent. Make you some biscuits and gravy. Like, give me rogue. Nothing against Anne
You just
Paquin
want the green and yellow suit and the brown jacket. That's all you want.
and a big old booty. All right. No, but I like even in like I wouldn't be mad if it was Anne Paquin. She's too old now, right? Because they're gonna do a younger cast, which I get.
Yeah.
But like I would have loved to have seen her get the opportunity to be a proper rogue versus what they made her be, right? Because I think she could have done a proper rogue well. But now they're gonna go back to being, younger, so she's out of the running.
I think the most difficult thing they're going to run into to make an X-Men movie is to really do an X-Men movie justice, they're going to have to not have Wolverine in it. And the people are going to rebel against that, but you need to spend time on the X-Men and then you can bring Wolverine in. But then the other issue is going to be, who the hell do you cast as Wolverine? If you're going
Obviously
younger,
Hugh Jackman, like there's no other option.
no, but that's the thing.
No.
You're going younger, and we know that Hugh Jackman is going to be in Doomsday, and there's talk that he's going to be in Secret Wars as well. But Hugh Jackman's what, 50 something?
Well, hold on, to be fair, you got to remember Wolverine was also born in the 1800s. He can be older. He's okay.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Hugh
No,
Jackman
somebody-
doesn't keep doing the role.
So I don't know who, but I don't know who you'd pick, right? And Moo asked, "Who would I have as Rogue?" I don't do fan casting like that because that shit does not work on me because I can never think of actresses because I don't even fucking know names enough to be able to like, oh, this girl would be good at this, or he'd make a good Hugh Jackman, right, or a good Wolverine. But somebody in another podcast I was watching with Wolverine, they said that Wolverine shouldn't do his own movie. Wolverine should get a series, and each season be a different timeline, right? That way you can have this one actor portray Wolverine almost as ageless through 100+ years of story,
Yeah.
then bring him into a movie and then explain why he's old, but he doesn't look old because they did it all like that, which I'd be completely fine with that. Give me Wolverine run like that.
That's a great way to do it. It's just, again, I don't know who you would cast for that. And if
Yeah, I have
you
no
do cast a new Wolverine, do you cast a comic accurate Wolverine or do you cast a movie accurate Wolverine, so someone that looks more like Hugh Jackman? Because Wolverine in the comics is much shorter, he's bulkier, right? Like, and they didn't think when they were casting the movie that would play well on screen.
Now,
so what do you do?
I could be wrong because I don't sit here and study the physiques of people. But Wolverine, in his short stature and his build, he's not very human. Like, just anybody can be this size, right? It's almost like it's not a feasible size of a person without there being some type of CGI at least put onto him to have him be that short, built the way he's supposed to be. So I don't care if Wolverine was done with somebody who's tall like Hugh Jackman, right? It doesn't bother me that Wolverine wasn't short. Like that never was an issue for me. It was never a problem. So that wouldn't bother me at all. Like I said, I just don't know who I would pick because I don't fuck with actors like that to even be like, oh, he'd be a good, like I do not know. And then also with the MCU, they have a very good range of getting people who you might not even expect to be well and then do the role justice, So it's like.
So in the comics, Wolverine is between 5'3" and 5'5".
Yeah, he's small.
Between there. And so, like, you could have somebody short that's super built.
But
right?
he's not like in shape built. Like he's like wider. Like he's like almost like Punk. Like he's small but wide, but not like fat, but like just wide.
Yeah. He's got broad shoulders that are all muscle. Yes. I will tell you. So here are the fan castings for a new Wolverine. You have Taron Egerton from the Kingsman series that people think that he would he would be a great choice because he's short, he's built, he can play action.
The kid who played like the main person in Kingsman.
I've never seen those movies. I wanted to, I just haven't seen them. But
or whatever his name was.
Then you got people want Daniel Radcliffe. They say that he could play a very good Wolverine.
I can see he can get the look, at least in the facial features with the beard. I can see he can get at least a look similar.
Jack O'Connell, and the last one is Matt Wood. Those are the 4 that are most discussed as good replacements for Wolverine.
So, I only know the one because that's who we're thinking about from the Kingsman. I only know him because of the Kingsman. I don't know him from anything else. If we're talking age, I feel like Radcliffe would be too old to start portraying if they're trying to go younger, right? Because he's got to be in his 40s.
I don't know. Let me look. Let's see. Daniel Radcliffe is 37.
Okay. So by the time the movie comes out, he'd be in his 40s.
Henry Cavill is 43.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I mean,
Hugh Jackman is 57.
Yeah. But like, I mean, you could like, and obviously Marvel has a tendency to, especially with their bigger characters, people can say, oh, they pick, big actors for their characters. But a lot of their big characters that have these big actors only became big actors because of Marvel.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Chris Evans was already a thing, but he wasn't Chris Evans.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Same thing with the other Chris. Hemsworth, yeah. He was acting, but he wasn't where he's at now. Yeah. The only ones that I could think of were already big, but still got bigger than what they were even before would have been Robert Downey Jr., right? He already had a successful career. He fell off because of drugs and alcohol and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but this was like his comeback, and he's bigger than he ever was.
Yes.
But he was already a big actor, right? Sam Jackson was already a big actor. But besides that, everybody else seems to be like they kind of come in low, known maybe, but low, and they become massive because of the movies.
I mean,
so I think you could get away with doing maybe not a unknown, but a very small name actor for any of these roles.
I could see. I'm not saying I want Daniel Radcliffe, but I could see him playing it because I think that he, like you said, he could get the look of Wolverine facially and everything. And I think being around 40 would be a good offset because he doesn't look 40, right? So like he still looks younger, but it would be believable if you had him as Wolverine with a team of a bunch of kids in their early 20s, right? Playing the other X-Men. You would have that difference in maturity. You would believe that this Wolverine is more worn on by time and has more experience.
At that point, just fucking keep Hugh Jackman. Fuck it.
Hugh Jackman doesn't want to keep doing it. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, I think a dump truck of money, he'll fucking do it.
They own him for the next 50 years. That's what Deadpool said.
I really think that we're gonna get. I think we're gonna get Doomsday and Secret Wars, and we won't see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine again after that. I think that he will absolutely be done.
So
at that point, he'll be over 60. Like he will be done.
So there are. I mean, people say it's coming. I don't know how true it is, but X-Men, Deadpool 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't count Deadpool Wolverine as Deadpool 3 because that's Deadpool Wolverine. That's its own thing, right? But Deadpool 3 would be a good way to also start introducing some of the newer characters, right? They don't, no way you have to go deep stories with, but you start introducing some of the new X-Men that way. However, they bring Deadpool in through Doomsday, he winds up staying here or whatever the fuck, because he's Deadpool. He'll do whatever the fuck he wants, right?
Yeah.
Like, he might stay in 616, and now I'm here. Like, thanks, guys.
I think they can't do. I don't think they can realistically do another Deadpool movie until you have Deadpool in Doomsday and or Secret Wars.
But he's supposed to be in Doomsday, right?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is we should not get another Deadpool movie until those things are over, because he needs to be in one place, and we need to establish where the hell he is, and then keep going with the movies.
I mean, the establishment is that he's Deadpool and he knows it's a movie and he can pop in wherever the fuck he wants. But that's another one that we obviously we didn't discuss one time, but I discussed with you, was that obviously at Comic-Con, I don't know if you saw this, Joe, that Ryan Reynolds was at Comic-Con.
I saw that.
But what people were saying was that they think that he was spoiling part of Doomsday because of what he was wearing, right? At first, people thought he was just wearing a gray X-Force Deadpool suit, but he wasn't, because he called it his Canadian tuxedo. And anybody who knows Canadians knows that a Canadian tuxedo is denim.
Yes.
Right? But it was gray. So everybody's like, oh, gray jeans, that's Jean Grey, that she's going to be in Doomsday. But then people started saying that it's confirmation that Ryan Reynolds is Jean Grey, which we know that's not the case. But
there's a lot of speculation that because Famke Janssen, who played Jean Grey in the original trilogy, has been very vocal online saying, oh, Marvel never reached out to me. They never reached out to Halle. They didn't care about the women because we're too old. And people think that she's just saying that to throw people off the track. Because you have Kelsey Grammer as Beast, you have James Marsden as Cyclops, you have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Like, you have all the older characters. It wouldn't make sense not to have the women there. And people are like, this is just a smokescreen from Disney. They're telling her to say these things so that when people get there and they see that Jean Grey is actually there and Storm is there, then they're going to be surprised. Mostly what I think Doomsday is going to end up being is a way to get all of the heroes that we want to remain into the same universe, right? So I get the feeling that the Fantastic Four's universe is going to be destroyed. They're going to get stranded here in the MCU. I think that the X-Men's universe is going to get destroyed, but they are not going to be here, right? Like, the X-Men will perish trying to save their universe. I think there's going to be a lot of death in the beginning of Doomsday. And I'm pissed because I'm fairly certain they're going to kill off Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man as well. And
so there, hold on. So that, because now that you brought that up, the speculation of the end scene credit of Brand New Day, just the Spider-Man finder, tracker, whatever the hell it is that Ned built, pans out. Ned is smart. He programmed this thing to fucking pan out and search space, apparently. But it shows Spider-Man, a Spider-Man found in space. Now, people are saying it's Battle World.
It's got to be Battle World.
Or the other one that people were saying potentially is that it's the Fantastic Four ship. Right? And that Tobey's Spider-Man is with Fantastic Four from his world or his universe.
And that would be cool.
Because that would be where Battle World or whatever, where the incursion or whatever, where the two worlds are coming together. So that's them bringing that world, and now we're going to get that, which would be interesting. See fucking Tobey Spider-Man come out in the blue and white fucking Fantastic Four suit.
He was in
blue and black.
No Way Home. He made a comment like, "You were really in space, huh?" He goes, "That'd be cool." So yeah. Maybe that leads to that. I don't know.
So I mean, that's the speculation, because besides that or Battle World, I can't think of another reason why there would be a Spider-Man blip out in space.
Who's Battle World?
Battle World.
It's basically where Civil
yeah. So Battle World is the planet that the Beyonder creates for Secret Wars, right? Like, the Beyonder is supposed to watch over people and not interfere. But he gets tired of all the casualties that occur when the heroes and the villains fight. And so he's like, I've had enough of this. I'm going to take all the villains, all the strong villains, all the strong heroes. He creates a world that he calls Battle World, and they all get teleported there. And he says, you guys are going to fight it out. And whatever side wins, you guys are going back to your home, and the other side is never leaving. It's done. Like, that way, there's no more innocent casualties being killed. The fighting is over. And then, of course, Doom, like, creates a machine and steals Galactus's power, and like all this shit comes apart. And
But this is also where Spider-Man gets fucked up and his suit gets destroyed.
yeah,
So then they make him a suit, basically, and this is where Venom becomes a thing because the suit is made with the symbiote. I don't remember if they knew it was or they didn't know it was in there.
oh, they did it.
That's where he gets the symbiote that then leads to the Venom becoming a thing later on.
He gets blown up in the first battle, and the only thing that's left is part of his mask, so he's hiding his face. And he's like, "Great, I don't have any spare suits. I don't know what to do." And I think it's Johnny Storm is like, "There's a machine in the back room back there that makes costumes. He's like, just go in there and tell it what you want. It'll make it for you." He said, "Well, I don't want anybody to know my identity." He's like, "There's nobody back there. I'll keep everybody out." So he goes back there and he goes into this machine and he gets this black thing on him and then it spreads out and he's like, "Oh, this thing is really cool." And then he finds out later through flashbacks when he realizes that there's something on him that's not right and he's talking with Mr. Fantastic. Mr. Fantastic's like, "What machine did you say you used?" And he's like, the costume machine. It was blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "That wasn't the costume machine. That was something different. Why would you go into that?" He's like, "Well, Johnny pointed over his shoulder." And he's like, "Why would you listen to Johnny?" And so, like, then he finds out that it wasn't the costume machine that put it on him.
So that's where Venom comes from, which, if that's the way they're going, that means then after that, that's might be how we get Venom in the MCU as well. If they do it with that storyline.
And it turns out that was some kind of space prison. And they never answer why, in a world that the Beyonder created just for them to fight, there was a fucking prison machine. Like, they never explained that, but it was some sort of prison machine that held the symbiote because it was deemed to be too dangerous.
But cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, so I can't see any other reason why there'd be a blip in space for Spider-Man being found. Like, that's such a random thing to be way the hell out there. So it's either, I would assume it's either Battle World, but for to do that, we haven't even had Doomsday yet, which will lead to that. So that's just a far throw for an Easter egg. You know what I mean? That's just a far toss. But if it is the Fantastic Four ship coming through and they have Toby Spider-Man on there,
it just makes me wonder what they're going to do with Doomsday. I mean, I would imagine that the Doctor Doom is going to show up and be very manipulative and try to make people think that there's nothing wrong, and he's going to be doing something nefarious because that's how Doctor Doom is.
I've heard so many not random, but so many opinions on Doctor Doom and what's going to happen. Obviously, the one where you and I are both in agreement that we didn't even realize. You didn't know I said it, and then you came on the last episode, whatever you mentioned it, that RDJ might not even be Doctor Doom, right?
I hope he's not. I really hope he's not.
But like, there's stories or ideas out there that we all know. Marvel has a tendency to put out trailers and remove people from the trailers.
Yeah. Sure.
And people are speculating that some of those scenes, like when you see there's like the scene in the trailer where you have like the Fantastic Four and Thor, like everybody's kind of standing around. People are speculating that Doctor Doom's in that scene. That he's there not as a villain, that he's there to try and help them from what's coming. From which what they think is Doom, right? Which might actually wind up being Stark. There to help them fight this evil that's coming, that's going to be the problem type of thing.
Yeah.
Or that we're going to wind up having a bunch of heroes fighting each other, where he's going to come with, these guys fucked up your universes. It's because of them this is happening. I need you to come with me, and we need to fix this. And he's going to bring the X-Men and all these people from the other universes as like his team to go against the event. Like, there's so many different ideas.
And all that tracks because in the comics, Doctor Doom is very manipulative, right? Like, he's always finding a way to play. So it would make sense that he would go to these different worlds, even if he was responsible for it, right? Like, go to these different worlds and say, listen, you can't protect your world here, but if you come with me, there's a place you might be able to protect it. And so when you see Cyclops in the trailer, he's clearly in a battle. And it's kind of like, you're not just gonna wipe out the X-Men early on in the battle. It doesn't make sense. And
I mean, so we all know, I mean, maybe we don't know, but people know, there's obviously Sentinels in this movie.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, my assumption would be that what we're seeing, at least with the Cyclops, I'm wondering if that's just him in a battle with Sentinels. We're seeing a scene from that, right? Because he would go and hit him like that with a blast against Sentinels. You know what I mean? But that's also where I'm at that point with this. I saw that trailer. I'm not going to watch it again because I don't want to sit there picking it apart because I want to go into that movie blind as I can. Even though all these people keep fucking popping up my feed now with all these theories, I'm like, man, these are like rabbit holes. These theories these guys are pulling out of their asses.
I just don't want it to be RDJ, and I think it'd be great if it was actually Henry Cavill. If Henry Cavill is actually Doctor Doom, I think that would be absolutely fantastic.
I mean, I'm not mad at it.
Interesting.
And I mean, it would track because, like I said, right before they announced RDJ as Doctor Doom, Henry Cavill was having meetings with Marvel, and they were talking about casting him as a character. And the only thing that came out online was Marvel's considering him for Captain Britain, who would step in and take over the Captain America role, which never really makes sense because Captain Britain was never really a big character. He'd show up occasionally in Avengers, but it was never like a marquee type of thing. And Henry Cavill had said, he's already played a hero. If he were to join the Marvel Universe, he'd love to play a villain, do something different. And I can't get the fact that they didn't show Doom's human face in the Hot Toys figures, even though they all said there is a human face, a non-masked face. They can't show it because of spoilers. And then also the voice of Doom in the trailer and the voice that RDJ used as Doom in Comic-Con were not the same. They didn't sound the same. The inflection wasn't the same.
So
something's just off.
Yeah, and to touch on the Hot Toys thing, I brought that up in a video somewhere. These guys were talking about it, and I just brought the idea. I'm like, hey, what if he's not even that? And they're like, you think that's a possibility? I'm like, oh yeah, because these items, it hasn't shown, like, it's kind of weird. I'm like, oh, well, that's because they're not going to show his face until the second movie. And I'm like, okay, cool. If you want to say that, like, they're going to wait to the second movie for Thor and Captain America to see his face as this big reveal of his face, okay, but they've already announced to us that it's him. So it's not going to be like some grand reveal because we know who it is.
Well, yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So, like, to sit there and be like, oh, we're going to release the toys, but we're going to hide the face of the toy because they're not showing the face in the movie until the end or the next movie. That doesn't make fucking sense at all.
I've seen people arguing the reason they didn't do it is because Doctor Doom's face is scarred in the comics, and that's true. But we could all imagine RDJ with scars on his face, right? Like, it's not going to be that big a deal.
That's what I'm saying. It's not a reveal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like people didn't lose their mind when Samuel L. Jackson took the freaking eye patch off and there were scars. Like, of course there were. We knew they were there. Right? So
all I'm going to say is this, is that Joe knows what's going on because he plays poker with RDJ. So he knows.
I haven't played with him in a while, though. It's been a long while. Like, I haven't seen him online or anything.
Joe's fully aware. He's just not saying nothing. He's sworn to secrecy. But all right. Was there anything else you guys want to discuss about this, or any theory or anything before we get on out of here tonight?
No.
I hope Disney's not watching that after that comment.
When you can't reach Joe in a couple of days, we'll know it's your fault, Chris. Disney.
The mouse took him out. So, hey, Joe, do you need to plug anything since you're on the cast? You haven't been on in a while.
Well, I need to get another episode of The Silent Frequency. I was telling Psycho before you joined, I messaged you 2 days ago and it was 1,000 followers, and we just hit 1,300 today.
Fuck yeah, man.
So I don't know what's going on. It's blowing up. The traction on YouTube, there's only 70 views. Not where I want to be, but maybe the next
it's
one.
New. It starts somewhere.
Yeah. We just need to put some time together, and it's been a busy last few weeks. So I'd like to try to put some time together and just bust out an episode again.
Yeah, no. I've got availability this weekend, so just let me know.
Sounds like a plan.
Psycho, you got anything you need to push or plug?
Nope.
All right. Well, then as Joe said, Silent Frequency. That's our paranormal podcast show that we've had one episode. It was fun as shit to do. I really did enjoy it. Seems like people are enjoying it. I see that you get comments. You post up videos and stuff. You get a lot of interaction. So if people are loving it, I got no problem doing more.
On the TikTok, one of the videos hit 40,000 views. I'm like, oh, I didn't expect that.
Hell yeah, see?
Yeah, it's picking up. Just not the following is picking up. So it's coming together, though. You're just being consistent.
It fucking takes time.
Yeah.
But the Silent Frequency has such a wide audience base because of what it is versus like Drinks and Toys or Collector's Hideout. We're very, in the grand scheme, very narrow in the field of attention. But what you got, everybody loves, well, not everybody, but there's a much wider audience for the paranormal and aliens and all that fun stuff. So yes, so we'll be doing another one of those. Check them out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It's all over. I don't think we're not on like podcasting platforms yet, right?
Not yet. I'm gonna wait for one more episode and try to figure that out. I'll need your help with that.
Yeah, I noticed something today when I was checking my analytics on one of our other ones, and it says free hosting. So we can use that to our advantage for that. So cool. With that, I don't know what next week's Collector's Hideout's going to be. No idea yet. Psycho and I are going to work on a schedule to get things a little more regulated and more professional as to when certain episodes in advance versus waiting until like a couple days before. So that's our next thing there. With that, anybody who's enjoyed this, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share it, let your friends know. Like, subscribe, and share over at Silent Frequency as well. That's been fun. So definitely you guys will enjoy that if you like anything remotely paranormal and strange. That's what we got.
Oh.
With that, we'll wish everybody a good night. Thanks everybody for coming out. I'm going to do a hard exit on this one.